Welcome to SelfCrafted Life, the space where you stop doubting, start trusting, and finally live as the real you. Cultivating quiet confidence beyond external validation. Redefining the meaning of confidence in a world obsessed with attention and approval. Confidence often becomes mistaken for loudness, charisma, and public validation. Social media has amplified this distortion. Likes, followers, and applause are frequently seen as markers of worth. But what if true confidence doesn't shout? What if it whispers from a deep, unshakable place within? This video explores the transformative power of quiet confidence, the kind not built on external praise, but forged through self-awareness, resilience, and inner peace. It's about finding strength that isn't dependent on performance or popularity. Through thoughtful reflection, practical strategies, and powerful mindset shifts, you'll learn how to step into a more authentic version of yourself, one that doesn't need the world's permission to feel worthy. 1. The external validation trap. The desire for external validation is deeply ingrained in modern society. From childhood, we are taught to seek approval from parents, teachers, peers, and eventually, strangers on the internet. This pursuit becomes exhausting. Social media, in particular, warps our perception of self-worth. It teaches us to measure ourselves through numbers: how many people like our photos, how many followers we have, or how loudly our achievements are praised. This trap leads to a fragile sense of self. Confidence based solely on external applause is fleeting. It rises and falls with public opinion. When we don't receive the recognition we crave, we question our value. It becomes a vicious cycle, constantly performing, constantly needing affirmation. Examples are everywhere. Someone obsessively checking likes after a post, or feeling anxious before a presentation, not because they doubt their work, but because they fear not being validated. But the truth is, real confidence isn't reactive. It doesn't waver based on others' approval. Breaking free from this trap requires courage. It means becoming aware of the subtle ways we seek validation and choosing to reconnect with an internal compass instead. When you no longer need to be seen to feel strong, you become unstoppable. 2. The inner compass. Redefining true confidence. True confidence is an inner knowing. It doesn't demand to be witnessed or applauded. Instead, it arises from an honest relationship with oneself, one rooted in self-acceptance, integrity, and emotional clarity. The shift from external to internal confidence starts by asking, what makes me feel proud of myself, even if no one else notices? This simple question turns the spotlight inward, away from performance and toward presence. Quiet confidence isn't passive. It's powerful in its calm. Think of someone who listens more than they speak, yet when they do speak, every word lands. Their strength doesn't come from dominating others, but from being anchored in who they are. They don't need the world to validate their worth. They already know it. Distinguishing this kind of confidence from the performative type is essential. Performative confidence may look strong on the surface, but it's often covering insecurity. It needs constant maintenance. In contrast, quiet confidence is self-sustaining. It doesn't demand attention, but it commands respect. To cultivate this inner compass, start noticing when you're seeking to impress versus when you're aligned with your values. Ask yourself if your actions reflect who you truly are, or who you think others want you to be. As you begin to trust your inner voice more than the noise outside, you'll notice a profound shift, one that reclaims your power and liberates you from performance-driven self-worth. 3. Dismantling the need for approval. Seeking approval isn't inherently bad. We're social creatures, wired for connection. But when our sense of worth becomes entangled in others' opinions, we lose touch with who we truly are. Approval becomes addictive. The more we get, the more we crave. Over time, it shapes our choices, our self-image, even our dreams. To dismantle this pattern, we must first recognize it. Ask yourself, Do I feel anxious when I don't get praised? Do I shape my words or actions to be liked rather than to be honest? These questions are a starting point for reclaiming your power. One powerful tool is boundary setting. When you start saying no to unnecessary obligations, to people-pleasing, to your own inner critic, you begin protecting your peace. You give yourself permission to honor your needs instead of constantly managing others' perceptions. Journaling can also uncover how deeply approval-seeking has rooted itself in your behavior. Reflect on past moments when you felt most insecure. Was someone else's validation missing? Was your confidence tied to being liked, admired, or accepted? Over time, as you become more grounded in self-reflection, you'll notice the urge to prove yourself slowly fades. You'll no longer fear judgment the same way. Approval may still feel nice, but it won't be your fuel. That's the power of quiet confidence. It doesn't need applause to exist. 4. Building your internal fortress. Practical strategies. Quiet confidence is not just a concept, it's a practice. To strengthen it, you need rituals and strategies that cultivate self-worth from the inside out. Think of it as building your internal fortress, a place of strength, calm, and clarity that no one can shake. Self-compassion is the first brick. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and forgiveness you offer a friend. When you make a mistake, speak to yourself gently. Say, "That was hard, but I'm learning." This rewires your inner dialogue and builds trust with yourself. Next, use affirmations grounded in truth, not fantasy. Instead of saying "I'm the best," try "I am worthy, even when I'm not perfect." These kinds of affirmations strengthen identity without feeding ego. Mindfulness is another cornerstone. Through meditation or deep breathing, you learn to be present. You're less reactive, less pulled by outside praise or criticism. You're anchored in now, not in fear of future failure or past judgment. Start simple, 5 minutes each day, to sit quietly, breathe, and notice what you feel. The goal isn't to clear your mind, it's to observe without judgment. This small act trains your brain for resilience. Lastly, commit to honest feedback from within. After a conversation or decision, ask yourself, did I show up as my true self? Let that answer matter more than what anyone else says. As you reinforce these habits, your internal fortress grows. It becomes a space you can return to when the world feels noisy, a space where quiet confidence lives and thrives. 5. Living from your core. The unshakable self-quiet confidence stems from alignment, when your actions reflect your values. Living from your core means honoring who you are, even when it's inconvenient or misunderstood. It's not about being right all the time, it's about being real. Start by identifying what truly matters to you. Not what you should care about, but what lights you up, brings peace, and aligns with your deepest truths. These values are your compass. Next, bring them into daily life. If authenticity matters, choose honesty over approval. If compassion drives you, act with empathy even when no one's watching. If growth inspires you, take small risks, not for applause, but for evolution. This consistency builds integrity, and integrity builds unshakable self-respect. Living from your core also brings clarity in relationships. You stop needing others to validate you and start choosing who truly sees you. You set healthier boundaries, speak more calmly, and listen more deeply. People may not always agree with you, but they'll trust your grounded presence. Even in career or creative pursuits, this shift is transformative. Instead of chasing titles or likes, you pursue work that reflects your truth. You become less performative and more purposeful. When life gets loud, your core becomes a refuge, and the more you return to it, the more your confidence roots itself in what no one can take away. 6. Reclaiming identity beyond labels and expectations from an early age. We are labeled smart, shy, loud, talented, difficult. Over time, these labels shape our identity. But labels are limiting. They trap us in roles we didn't choose, and in expectations we may no longer align with. Quiet confidence invites you to strip those labels away. Ask yourself, who am I without achievement? Without being the funny one, the overachiever, the caretaker? It's a hard question, but an important one. Because when your confidence depends on fulfilling a role, you lose the ability to evolve. Instead, reclaim your identity from the inside out. Write down what you value, what you enjoy, what makes you feel at peace, not what gets applause. Challenge expectations, especially internalized ones. If you've always been the reliable one, is it okay to ask for help? If you're known for being confident, is it okay to feel afraid? Yes, because true self-assurance includes flexibility. It allows you to be whole, not just perform strong. As you release these layers, you'll find a more authentic self underneath, someone who doesn't need to be perfect to be worthy. Someone who can show up quiet, messy, human, and still be enough. That's where quiet confidence flourishes, not in being flawless, but in being real. 7. The role of purpose and quiet confidence. Purpose is powerful. It gives direction, resilience, and meaning to our efforts. But when your purpose comes from outside, like impressing others or proving your worth, your confidence becomes fragile. Quiet confidence is rooted in internal purpose. To find this, ask deeper questions. Instead of what should I do, ask what matters to me. Instead of how can I succeed, ask what impact do I want to make. Your purpose doesn't need to be grand. It can be as simple as showing up with kindness, creating beauty, solving problems, or helping others grow. The key is that it's yours. When your actions align with your purpose, validation becomes secondary. You don't need to prove anything. You're just living your truth. Purpose also creates resilience. When setbacks come, and they will, you won't crumble. You'll keep going, not because you want applause, but because the work itself matters. That kind of purpose is magnetic. It draws the right people, opportunities, and momentum. But more importantly, it draws you inward, back to your center, where quiet confidence waits. 8. Redefining success on your own terms. In a world obsessed with productivity, visibility, and constant achievement, success often looks like wealth, fame, or public recognition. But these definitions aren't universal. They're inherited, conditioned, and often shallow. Quiet confidence invites you to redefine success on your own terms. Instead of asking what do I need to achieve to feel valuable, ask what brings me fulfillment. Maybe success for you isn't the corner office, but doing work that aligns with your values. Maybe it's not about a huge following, but meaningful impact. Maybe it's peace, not applause. This shift is liberating. When you define success internally, the pressure to constantly perform drops. You stop comparing yourself to highlight reels. You stop measuring your worth against others' time. Instead, you focus on progress, purpose, and authenticity. Begin by writing your own success criteria. What does a good day look like? What does a good year feel like? Who are you becoming in the process? Not just what are you doing. Let go of outdated goals that no longer serve you. Maybe you were chasing a job title that never felt right, or an image that exhausted you. Quiet confidence lets you pivot, not out of failure, but self-awareness. You'll start noticing that the people who truly inspire you aren't always the loudest. They're the most aligned. They radiate from the inside. That's the quiet power of someone who knows what matters to them and pursues it unapologetically. That kind of success can't be bought, and it doesn't need to be proven. It's lived. 9. Healing the inner critic. Everyone has an inner critic, that voice that whispers or shouts, "You're not enough." It might sound like a parent, a teacher, a past failure, or even your own distorted self-image. But left unchecked, that voice becomes a barrier to quiet confidence. You can't silence it completely, but you can transform your relationship with it. First, recognize the critic is not the truth. It's just a protective mechanism gone rogue. It thinks it's helping you avoid shame or rejection, but in doing so, it undermines your self-worth. Start by naming the voice. Give it a character or nickname. This creates distance. Instead of, "I'm a failure," you can say, "My inner perfectionist is getting loud again." This makes the criticism feel less personal and more manageable. Then, practice self-compassion in real time. When the critic speaks, respond like you would to a friend. That's a harsh judgment. "I'm doing the best I can." This simple shift rewires your internal dialogue from judgment to kindness. Therapies like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, or journaling exercises can help untangle these thoughts. You might discover that your inner critic is repeating old stories that no longer apply. Stories like, "I'm only lovable when I succeed," or "I have to be perfect to be accepted." When you begin rewriting those stories with evidence, self-kindness, and intentional thought, the critic softens. It becomes a quieter background hum rather than a dominant force. And in that space, your quiet confidence grows. Not because you never doubt yourself, but because you know how to return to truth, even when doubt shows up. 10. Integrating confidence into daily life. Quiet confidence isn't something you wake up with one day. It's cultivated moment by moment, choice by choice. And the real transformation happens not in big leaps, but in small, consistent acts. Start by noticing how you carry yourself. Do you walk into rooms with presence or hesitation? Do you make eye contact? Breathe deeply. These subtle physical cues influence how you feel and how others respond to you. Practice speaking with intention, even if your voice shakes. Say what you believe, not what you think others want to hear. Choose honesty over performance. Confidence lives in truth, in your habits. Prioritize alignment. If you value health, make small moves toward it. A walk, a nourishing meal, rest. If creativity matters, carve time to write, paint, or brainstorm. Each aligned act reinforces your worth, because it proves you're showing up for yourself. Surround yourself with people who reflect your authenticity. You don't need hype squads or constant praise. You need people who see your quiet power and support your growth. Protect your energy from those who drain or belittle it. Lastly, celebrate internal wins, not just promotions or milestones, but the days you honored your boundaries, expressed yourself honestly, or rested without guilt. These are the moments confidence is built. Over time, your life becomes a reflection of your inner worth, not your follower count, salary, or applause. You'll realize you no longer need to chase validation, because you've already arrived home, within yourself. Final word, asterisk, the power of inner assurance in a noisy world where everyone seems to be shouting for attention. Quiet confidence is a revolutionary act. It's the strength to know who you are without needing constant proof. It's the resilience to stand in your truth, even when others don't understand it. You've now walked through the journey from dismantling the need for approval to building inner strength, healing your inner critic, and integrating confidence into daily life. These aren't just ideas, they're invitations to live lighter, to speak more freely, to rest in your own worth. Quiet confidence doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It simply needs to be yours. And once you discover that, nothing outside of you can take it away. Remember, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. Keep showing up as you,